$288,584 is the amount that I have made reselling in 2024. Now, majority of this has been on eBay, and 60% of this number has been from pre-loved or pre-owned clothing. Now, all these numbers that I'm about to show you are all pre-GST and pre-tax. I leave that for my financial end of year, and that's between me and my accountant. But this will give you a really good perspective of what does it look like. And what does it look like? Well, this number is purely revenue, so this is not profit. I'll get to the profit shortly. And this was only possible by having a team. I don't do this solo, even though I do it full time. I do have a team of 3 staff at this point in time. I have 2 people that work for me at my storage unit, and I also have my lister, John, who works from the Philippines. And this is my 4th year reselling. It's been a journey to get here. It's been an absolute crazy journey to get here. And I am super proud to be able to say that we have grown bigger than ever this year, and that includes revenue, that includes profit, and of course it also includes expenses and operating expenses as well. So it's a bit overwhelming to think this is where I am and to see the growth that's possible, but it also encourages me and it also inspires me and motivates me to see where we can take this over the next 3 years as well. I'm going to take you through all the expenses, break it all down for you. Again, this is my business. It's not yours. It's not a like-for-like comparison. If you've got thoughts, comments, by all means, please chuck them down in the comments below. I'm sure you will anyway. And just to frame this from my own intention, I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle. Now, that's not a lifestyle that's necessarily going to be attained today, but I'm trying to build that lifestyle, which is going to take me over probably the next 5 years. I've got a 10-year plan of what this could look like, and I'm on my journey to make that happen. So just keep that in mind. The way I do it might not work for you. The way I do it might not be the way you would like to do it. It's working for me. I'm super excited to be able to continue to show up and share this journey, hopefully with the idea to inspire, encourage, and motivate you to do something of your own, whether it's build a business selling on eBay or whether it's just to pursue those dreams and ambitions that you have. And of course, I talk more about this in my podcast, Further Your Lifestyle, which drops every Sunday at 9 a.m. So, the expenses this year. I will just say the cost of goods, the numbers that you see on screen when it refers to COG, cost of goods sold, this also includes any washing costs that's baked into the numbers of each item and what it costs to purchase. That's just the way I've been doing it from an accounting standpoint. But in terms of all the expenses and the breakdown of the numbers, you can see it all up on screen, but I'll take you through it. Total expenses has come to $183,262.73. Shipping of that was $55,987, almost $56,000. That's just pure shipping, meaning pressing print and paying for the postage. Fees just to sell on eBay alone was $47,858. Rent through my storage is $18,231, which is just huge. Staff, this includes wages, super, and the tax paid for those individuals, $37,811.37. Consignments, this is the deals that I work with people where I sell on their behalf and then we split the profits. I've paid out, this is across I've varied between 3 and 4 customers. We've paid out $14,887.59 worth of profits to them. And then the other amount, which is around $8,485, that's been supplies such as, just the bags that I put things in, printing supplies, office supplies if I've had to upgrade, different things, tables and bits and bobs to make things a little bit more effective and efficient. It also includes my fuel expenses for the vehicle, and other vehicle expenses and just the bits and bobs that come along the way. So net profit comes to $47,942.19, which is a 16.61% net profit. And this is actually an increase from a dollar value of 34% from last year, which is incredible. Now, the number one question that I get, the number one comment that I get thrown at me is, it doesn't seem worth it. And look, to be honest, from a pay-per-view, it doesn't seem worth it at all. It really doesn't. But from a running view, from a growth view, and from a long-term focus view, this is incredible. And, it's why I do continue to focus on that top line of revenue, because that number, revenue, is key to ensuring a successful profit. Because if I don't have the processing of high revenue, because I'm high expenses as well, then I'm not going to make a good profit. Now, the way I'm building this business, if you are new here, I'm building the business that isn't about me. I don't want to be the bottleneck. I don't want to be the one doing all the work. And I'm continuing to find ways to bring myself out of the business and doing more of the decision making, the strategic operations. And I still do a lot of the postage, but continuing to bring myself out of it. And it's about creating something which operates not as me, but as its own entity. And that's what we should all be thriving to do if we're wanting to build a long-standing business. Unless you plan to exit it completely and you sell the business, I don't think I have the intention of selling it off at this point. It's more around I want to build it something that is running itself, and I'm leveraging it to build other businesses. And the idea is to have things happening regardless if I'm there or not. Now, last year when I went away for 6 weeks, I did pay one of my staff members to operate and run the shop. We all took time off this year. It's been a big year. We've achieved amazing results, which I'm going to do a comparison shortly. And everyone needed that time off. So this is my mindset. This is my approach. This is the goal. And I just wanted to make sure people understand that, the way I'm doing it is going to be very different to everyone else. Now, the thing that people need to understand, if you're going into reselling, if you're going into building a long-standing business, if I create a business which is 100% reliable on myself, then all I'm doing is creating a job. And that means I'll be doing a big job, a lot of work, and for very little money. Whereas, I'm not doing the same amount of stressful work that I was doing when I was earning $160,000 a year working for someone else, which of course is a lot more money. But at this point in time, I'm happy with this. It works for me. This is not my only source of income. Just to be very frank with that, I do have our listing service business. I do get a little bit of money from YouTube, only about $3,000 a year, which a lot of that goes back to giveaways, and we donate to Backpack with Big Kids. But I do have a share portfolio, and I do have an investment property portfolio as well, which does help pay and keep things operating as well. But at this point in time, this is how I'm running my life and how I'm running my business. And that's really none of your business in terms other than me sharing it. But I wanted to make sure that's fully transparent as well, so you can understand. And I'm doing this for a long-term perspective. So that is the plan. I'm building a business for a longer-term outcome. The idea is this short-term pain in terms of expenses, which are very high, which you'll see shortly, will hopefully start to pay off, with the work that we're putting in, with the risks and the execution, to pay off to a bigger gain in the longer term. Now, to provide you a better perspective, and I'm going to bring up some data points here for you to have a look on screen. I want to take you through a journey, in terms of revenue growth, sales growth, expenses, and outcome change in terms of net profit. Now, year one, back in 2021, when we started this business, I had no idea what I was doing, but it was a great journey to learn, and you can see the numbers there. We did actually pretty good revenue. We did $51,000 in revenue. And that was crazy to think that was even possible at that point in time. But obviously things have changed, and I got excited to see what was possible to achieve. And if I go down the line, you'll be able to see that. I'm just moving my screen. Hang on. If I go down the line, you'll be able to see that, we did $1,700 in sales, we did $51,000 in revenue, and net profit of that was $29,481. I didn't have overheads, I didn't have storage units, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have staff. I was doing it all myself, figuring it out. But then I moved into year two, and we basically grew by 51% in terms of sales. We grew by 56% in terms of revenue, and profit we almost doubled as well. So that's what the perspective there is. Then I started to look at it from, I want to do this big time. I want to take it to something that's beyond me, and I want to pay other people to help build that business. I want to, really go in and start putting in a bit more risk. And also there was some big challenges around sourcing from op shops. Wasn't able to get the volume that I was looking for. And I started to change from just doing, picking and, flips and stuff to actually buying wholesale, which obviously increased costs. So year three, which was 2023, we again almost doubled our sales volume, and then we grew by 93% in terms of revenue. So we went from 80,000 to 155,000. And then of course the expenses increased as well. We went from an OPEX expense from 29,000 to 87,500, with a net profit lowering from the year prior, from 43,000 to $35,000, that was hard to take, but I was happy with it because of all the I guess, all the investments I've been putting into the business. Now moving to 2024, again, we have grown by another 37% in terms of volume of sales. We've grown by another 85% in terms of revenue. So we went from 155,000 top line to 288,000 top line, and majority of that being on eBay. Expenses, however, have gone up as well. And if you look at the line, the cost of goods have continued to almost double every... Oh, actually not double. Sorry. We've gone from a 7,000 cost of good to an 8,000 cost of good to a 32. We went by 4 times. And we didn't quite double in year 2024, but we did have a significant increase as well. And likewise, we've had a huge increase of expenses as well, paying wages, paying staff, paying rent, paying cost, like cost to operate, storage. It's been huge just to operate. So that's been a little bit overwhelming. $183,000. And some of that is, out of my control, like postage and things like that. But the net profit came in at $47,942. This is before GST, before tax, all that jazz. So we did actually increase by 34%, which is a big win. And net profit is about 16%. So ASP wise, over the 3-4 years, we've actually continued to increase every single year, which is encouraging. And average profit per item, we actually pretty much was around the same. This is after all expenses paid as well, net profit. Postage has continued to increase every year, but as we do more volume, that makes more sense. So my focus is trying to get more people buying multiple items in orders. Fees have gone up because we've sold more. Cost of good average has gone up to $9.15 opposed to $7.09. But there's a few other numbers here as well. But all in all, I'm very, very proud of this, because even though we're continuing to increase costs, we continue to make profit. And that's really what we're here to do. If I was to break it down in whole of life, we've done over 15,000 sales now. We've done almost $600,000 in revenue since starting, and profited over $150,000 since starting as well. And our average stats being, ASP $38 over those last 4 years, and also average being around 3,700 sales per year with 144 top line revenue, 144,000, and net profit on average being around 39,000 per year of a 27 net percent, which ain't too bad. Now, look at this. I understand a lot of people think it's not worth it for the amount of work that I do. I don't really care. My intention looking at this is, if I continue to grow, because at the moment we're averaging about 78% year on year revenue wise, which will be a challenge to continue to do that, but we will push for it. If we can continue to do that, if we can continue to average net profits around that 27%, I expect we will continue to target around that, above 16%, ideally 20% in the next financial year. If I can keep this happening, then we should be able to see some really good results. Now, there is some huge challenges in all this. Net profits continue to trend down because we're investing a lot of that money back into the business. Storage, staff is the main ones. Wholesale wise, I've got that down pat. Washing, I've got that down pat. It's more around space. There's a few small metrics that I need to fix up in terms of sell-through rates to get cash flow better. But ideally, things still need to stabilize, need to grow, need to make better adjustments. I need to stabilize the net profit and also increase the net profit. But as I was saying, if I can continue to grow, so if I take the last 2 years average of 20% net profit on average between the last 2 years, if we can continue to increase revenue, ideally year on year of what we've been doing over the last 3-4 years, then it will be possible that I will be profiting $100,000 every year within the next 3 years. But, that's still a long-term way. I'm still about to make some big changes to the business in terms of, moving into warehouse, which will obviously have some bigger expenses. But, there's some challenges that I'm working through around stabilizing, and there's been questions around, do I pull back in certain areas? Do I do more work myself? But no, I don't want to do more work. That's not the intention. There's a few other levers that I'll continue to try and pull. Obviously, there is a consistency of expenses, storage, and wages. I can't really control postage and fees, maybe a little bit of fees around marketing and things like that. But really, my only leverage is, how do I maximize space utilization? How do I get better product for a higher ASP at retaining the cost of good or lowering the cost of good? or I just have to lower the cost of good while retaining, consistency of product quality, which are all big challenges. But the short of it, too long didn't read, is we need higher output return for the same or less effort, aka cost. Now, is this possible? Hopefully, that's the idea, but I guess you'll find out. And I document this journey every week. I bring you along. I'll be getting back to those weekly videos very soon, taking you along with what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, the decisions I'm making, as we grow, as I meet challenges and all those different things. And, this year I'll be talking about it in another video of what the goals and the intentions are to see the business grow. Obviously, now that I know that I can do $288,000, the goal is to continue to do that, do it again, see if we can get it to 300 or plus, and just see what's possible, right? And it's very overwhelming. I'm not going to lie, I feel very overwhelmed at the moment because I'm realizing what we have achieved. When I say we, the team, and now I have to do it again. And look, if I could do less and make more money, then sure, I'll do that too. So, there's a few things there we've got to think about. I'll be making some changes, continuously refining it, but I just want to appreciate everyone that has provided the support, that's been following the journey. I've had some really amazing comments along the way, and the encouragement and support for the true fans here means the world to me. So thank you. For all the haters and those doubters, well, I'll continue to prove you wrong. And if you don't like my content, you can stop watching it and giving me boosts. But if you don't like my stuff, don't watch it. It's simple. But otherwise, I appreciate the free views. Right, so we'll charge on. We will see what we can do this year. And please remember that the way I do things are from my own decisions. I'm responsible for it. I'm accountable to it. And, maybe you would do it different. And that's great. If you've got suggestions, I might take them on board. But I enjoy building this the way I'm building it because it feels like a video game, and leveling up and trialing new things and experiencing different problems and how to solve for those, and working with the team, and those have been huge things to learn about, just upskilling others, process guides, all these different things, all things which are super important to continue to scale the business where I want to take it. So who knows what 2025 will have. Obviously bigger and greater things is the idea, but yeah, we'll get back to it and get into normal routine and come along for the journey. Appreciate you. You have a wonderful day. Cheers.